right, it is 5 o'clock. I will call this meeting of the Finance and Personnel Committee to order. We'll begin with the roll. Alder Ackley? Here. Alder Flicky-Pineski? Here. Scott, do we have anybody online? Alders Feldy and Perella are excused. Mitchell is present. That gives us a quorum. Will you all please join me in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Barring objections, we will jump over number 4 for introductions and move on to item number 5, which is approval of the minutes from our December 26th meeting. Is there any discussion on those minutes? If not, we would be looking for a motion to approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second, then seeing no discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye. The ayes have it and the motion passes. Those minutes are approved. That takes us into item number 6, which is RO number 60 of 2324, submitting a summons and complaint in the matter of Citibank versus the estate of Ray R. Papp, deceased et al.
So this is before you just because we're closing out this file and you have it. So the proper motion would be to file. This is a foreclosure where we were just simply named as an additional. We have liens on the property as well, but we were behind the primary, the bank. And that matter has now closed. There was a default judgment taken against the estate.
Questions, comments on this one? If not, we'd be looking for a motion to file.
I move to file. Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second, then seeing no discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye. The ayes have it and the motion passes. Bringing us into item number 7, which is RC number 213 of 2223. Finance and Personnel Committee, to whom was referred RO number 124 of 2223 by City Clerk submitting a summons and complaint in the matter of U.S. Bank Trust Company, National Association as trustee versus David J. Rosenthal et al.
Similarly, this is in front of you in order to be filed because the case is over, although not so similarly, that's because the matter has been dismissed.
Questions, comments on this one? If not, we would be looking for a motion to file.
So moved. Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second, then seeing no discussion. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye. The ayes have it and the motion passes. This takes us straight to number 8, which is General Ordinance number 34 of 2324, an ordinance reestablishing the salary schedule for alderpersons and the mayor. Is there anybody that would like to speak to this one? I will also defer to the authors that are sitting up here.
I can give an introduction to you, but that's not it.
By all means.
So just basically as introduction, with elected officials, you always have to pass the salaries in advance. That's why you're getting this now for the mayor. The rule is that between the state law and our own local ordinance, finance and personnel is required to make a recommendation to council no later than 13 months prior to the election for the matter. So that's why it's in front of you, because we're a little over a year away from that election. And then council just simply needs to act prior to the election. So you're on a much closer deadline than the council as a whole is, but you do have to make a recommendation, which would then have to be acted on at some point by council.
Thank you. Alder Decker.
Okay, the reason that Alder Salazar and I brought this forward is after looking at the Carlson-Deppin study, but we did on the rest of our employees, we discovered that we are behind on the mayoral salaries, and we want to keep ourselves in tune so that we are bringing in quality candidates for the mayor's position. We don't want to be where it's just where we're limiting the people that'll come forward, that'll run for mayor. We've had good quality people in the past. I'm not saying that we haven't, but we just feel that this is the time to bring this salary up to a more I'd say affordable or more of a livable wage for someone. We feel that it's imperative that the mayor of the city of Sheboygan should be able to afford a home in the city of Sheboygan, be able to do all those things like that, and just comparing ourselves to other municipalities in this area. The salary we are down from most of them, and even with this, we will still not be up there, but this at least brings us closer.
Thank you. Alder Salazar, did you have anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, I just want to echo that I agree with what Dean's saying, and so we're working on it, like Attorney Adams was shared, is that we need to get this through. So this is something we didn't just decide to do in December. We've been talking about this for several months already, and so now it's the time is approaching. So it's been considered for some time. It wasn't a quick move. It was something that we've been talking about for a few months already.
Thank you. In that case, I'll open it up to the committee. Questions, comments on this one? Alder Flicky-Pineski?
Sure. Thank you. I am in favor of giving the mayor's position a raise, and it's the position, not the person. Just want to reiterate that. I recall during the study, the Carlson-Deppman study, when we were working with everybody in the city and all of their salaries and all of their pay grades. This did come up back then, and it was set aside because it was unique among the salary positions. So it was set aside for a future date, and this is the future date. So I am in favor of moving it forward.
Thank you. Any other discussion from the committee? Otherwise, I'll jump in with my comments quick and then over to Alder Heidemann. But
You first.
I'll run through mine first, quick.
Okay, I guess,
Alder Heidemann. Just before Alder Heidemann goes, I'm not opposed to the idea of taking a look at the compensation for this position, and I will thank Alder Flicky-Pineski for saying what I meant to as I read this item off, that we are much like the compensation study when it came through, talking about a position, not individuals. But I think back to the compensation study and how we asked employees to really buy into the process and the methodology based on the fact that every job was going to be broken down into its duties and responsibilities. All of those duties and responsibilities then rated and put through the same formula that would determine their final placement on the scale for compensation. I don't necessarily know that that is the same process we're looking at now, just by looking at municipalities nearby and what they're compensating their mayor, because those jobs can differ on what the day-to-day responsibilities are, the direct day-to-day oversight and management of our operations and administration or not. So I feel like on principle, if we asked for that buy-in, because that is the process we followed, we should follow a similar process on this. As of now, I cannot support the proposed increase for the reasons we've currently heard for justifying that particular figure. Alder Flicky-Pineski.
Thank you. So what would the buy-in look like? What do you need to see to make this agreeable? What process do you need to see?
Thank you for the question. Probably not a 1.5 to 2 year long study. Can start there. Sheboygan, it's my understanding, is unique, having both a full-time mayor and a full-time city administrator. Not unique as in the only one, but I would say it is not the normal trend, but focusing on other municipalities around us that have that situation that does mirror ours, and what their compensation looks like to me would be a lot more of a applicable comparable than just looking at municipalities around us generally without taking into account what their current management governing structure is. Any other discussion from committee? Otherwise, I will turn it over to Alder Heidemann.
Jeremy, that was my question also, is was the salary compensation, is that the same for any other community that has a city administrator, city manager, or somebody else that we're paying on a daily basis to basically run the city? And then what the responsibilities that, I guess I'd like to have more of some of a guideline of what we're going to pay a mayor that type of money for, because what he's doing. I mean, is he working 40 hours a week? Does he have, is there certain guarantees that we're getting enough out of that position that warrants that type of a salary, especially when we have a city administrator? Again, I have to say, you kind of had to be there, but when I was on the council and we established the city administrator, one of the thoughts that we had, and we thought very hard and we talked about it, over and over again, we had many, many meetings on this. What are we going to compensate the mayor with? How's the mayor going to get paid? We didn't, there were people that said, well, let's cut the salary in half and let them work full time. And we didn't want to go along with that because we value a mayor. I think every citizen in Sheboygan does value a mayor. But what responsibilities that would he have to be able to make $83,000 a year versus, you know, how many meetings does he attend, what his responsibilities are? Are we paying more for a mayor than we should be paying? And back then, we just said, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to drop that salary down to a salary that, again, that was years ago, that was adequate. And I'm not saying that times change, things cost raise. I agree with that, but I would like to make sure that we're not overcompensating our mayor when we have somebody in place of like a city administrator that does the bulk of the work and does the budget, handles the department heads. So again, I'd like to see some of those costs or whatever those communities are paying their mayor that has a city administrator or city manager.
Thank you, Alder Heidemann. Alder Salazar?
So I think that's, thank you for sharing the history of what it was. And so the mayor has still continued, and we're going to still continue to move forward with that. And I think the 83 is what is moving up to, not what he's starting at. So I just want to make that clear. I don't want you to say that number out loud and people believe that that's the number he's starting at. The 83,000 is what he would move to over the next, I think, is it 3 years or 5 years? In 2028. So he's not starting at 83. So let's make that really clear on the floor. Second, I don't want to compare like we talked about. It's about the position, and I don't want to, you're speaking a lot about the mesh of between the administrator and the mayor. Yes, they work as a team and they work, have to work cohesively together and pretty often, but they are separate positions. And so I hear what you're saying about why when you created the position, and I think that's valid, and I'm grateful for that decision, but they are separate. And so I don't think because we pay an administrator one thing, we pay someone else less. It has to be thought of separate in its own buckets and own compartments. And so we have been very thoughtful in thinking about what that is. I think the question about what other municipalities have done is homework that we have looked into and reached out to, I can't think of the Wisconsin League of Municipalities, and are waiting to get that information back. But we also looked at what other mayors have gotten and taken that information based on their city. We're not significantly giving a large increase based on what we've seen the other cities around us have given. It's been a very thoughtful decision-making, and I believe we can get that information to you, Trey. We just haven't heard back from them. So that is information we can absolutely share, but it isn't, outside of that, I don't know what else you'd be asking for. Like, I don't, I feel really conflicted about the two of you comparing both the administrator and the mayor position. If you're thinking about just that position alone, I'm happy to have that discussion, but they're not one and the same.
I guess to address part of that at the end, that was a question. That is probably where my moment of pause is I want to look at just that position for what it is for Sheboygan. The administrator and the mayor are definitely not the same position, but in some municipalities, if you were to list out the duties of the positions, there might be crossover for what we ask for here, so I know we don't probably have a written job description for the mayor, and that's,
We do,
do we?
we do,
Yeah.
yeah.
We saw it, we all saw
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
They gave it to us, we all as council received that, along with the administrator.
Position, whenever stuff went south, we all got that information because it was something I specifically asked for from the attorney's office. Liz put that together for us. And
Fair. Each individual municipalities, much like they're all going to have their own character, they're going to be asking different things from it.
yeah, I think Dean might have some updates.
Alder Decker?
Okay, so I did get something from the League of Municipalities. It's a little bit, it's not great. Some of the municipalities, the salary was not included, some of the things like that. I guess the ones that, the larger ones that are close to this Sheboygan, or maybe a little bit larger, but still, Kenosha and Racine both have a city administrator and a full-time mayor. That thing. I do have the wage for Racine. Let's see, once here, Racine is listed, is $125,000 per year. The wage for Kenosha is not listed. West Dallas has a full-time mayor and a city administrator. Theirs is 73,583 per year at this particular point in time. So this is probably a closer, it's right in the, as far as the population and such like that. It's a little bit different. Waukesha also has city administrator. Wauwatosa, there's a couple of them. The thing is that I guess it's what, we have the job, we have the position. I think we should it needs to be a better compensation in order to attract, and that's just bottom line. I think we need to, if you would, if you want to look at other communities and that, we can see, but other communities, you're not going to find an apples to apples comparison. I just don't believe you will. I mean, every community's got a different thing. Some communities have a mayor and a deputy mayor. Some, so they have another person underneath the mayor instead of an administrator being on top. I mean, there's really an apples to apples comparison. So.
Thank you, Alder Decker. Alder Flicky-Pineski.
Thank you. One of the other things, and I did receive some League of Municipality data. One of the other things that I was aware of is the size of the municipality. And there are some with populations that are half our size. And I don't have the data whether they have an administrator or not, but half our size, and they're making 30 to 50% more than our mayor is. So I think Dean's observation is accurate. We're not going to get a super apples to apples, but the question is, do we want to compensate our mayor for his job in his job description? And it might be a her someday. Do we want that position to be compensated equitably, is kind of where I'm coming from.
Thank you. Any other discussion from committee authors, council at large? If If not, what I'm hearing from committee is that we would then be looking for a motion to recommend approval.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes no. The motion passes.
Okay.
Takes us to item number 9. Just to note that our next,
Sorry, Chairman.
sorry, other item is this on item number 8? If it is, that is.
Well, it's on, I was just wondering if this resolution could go to the committee of the whole.
We've closed out item number 8 already. I didn't see that you had buzzed in until I looked back after calling the vote. Going on to item 9, our next meeting date is currently scheduled for January 22nd of this year, and with that, we have exhausted our agenda and are looking for a motion to adjourn. Motion and a second. All in favor of adjournment? All opposed? Chair votes aye. The ayes have it, and the motion passes. We are adjourned.